Hi guys, and welcome to my latest video. It's a little bit later than I would have liked to have made it, but just things have been a bit busy and I'm a little bit unorganized, so it's better late than never. Now this is going to be my reseller reality kind of number 3 show. So I'm just going through my February with you guys in detail, just showing you what I'm managing to sell or not, as the case may be. Now, if you've been watching the other videos, you would have seen that I had a pretty bad first week of February, about £400 of sales, but after you take off the fees, etc., it works out to around 270. And then I had a really decent second week. In actual fact, what I'll do is I'll just switch over. I'm going to show you. Okay, let's show you what I'm talking about. So my first week of February was not the best. Like I said, £424 of sales, and after you took away the fees, I ended up with about 284. The second week was a lot better. I got my arse in gear a little bit, listed a few items, and saw results. Did about £735 of turnover, and cleared about 500, which is great. But this week, which is what I'm going to show you now, has been back to week 1, as it were. Very quiet. I've got to admit, I didn't help it because I did bugger all last week, to put it lightly. I did pretty much nothing. The wife was on holiday, the kids were on holiday half term. Just spent time with them, relaxed, chilled out, didn't do anything because I wanted to list because I wanted to build on the last week's sales, but I didn't, and the result is there for you all to see. However, I don't feel too bad because it does happen even when you do list sometimes. I mean, I was actually watching Scavenger Life, who are one of my favorite YouTubers when it comes to reselling. They're not watching them, but I was listening to them. They do a weekly podcast, and these guys have got about 3,000 items in one of their in their flagship store, and they only managed about $400, but they did manage a crazy sale of 4 yards of fabric for $1,800, which kind of makes up for it. But that was more of an anomaly. They said so themselves. So, it swings and roundabouts. It is an excuse at the end of the day. So I should have listed more. Would it have made a difference? Who knows? Chances are it would have done. But anyway, this is my third week. So of February, £412 of sales, £40 was invested in stock, sold for 412. After the eBay PayPal fees, insertion fees, delivery fees, I ended up with £309 back. So when you take out the original £40 I spent on stock, 270 is what I made. So 309.79 minus 39.90 is 269.89, which is 65% profit on return. And if you look at my first week, it was 66%, second week 68%, this week 65%. So you can see I'm hovering around the 66% mark profit on return, which is really good. And it's one of the reasons why I personally think it's very important to track your figures like this. I had stopped doing it for a while because technically, even for tax reasons, you don't need to, because as long as you keep track of what you're buying, eBay does all of this for you. These figures are there. When you download your statement at the end of the month, eBay tells you what you sold. They tell you how much you spent on eBay fees and PayPal fees, and you can get your delivery costs from PayPal as well. So you kind of don't need to track it as you go along, but I really do advise that you do it as you go along because it keeps you up to date, and also it keeps it at the front of your mind as to how you're doing. So I know this week hasn't been amazing, and it's prompted me into action. Because I had like an easy week last week with the kids off, I've been really kind of pushing with the listings, and I've managed to get myself up to over 300 listings for the first time, which is a little mini milestone for me. And I'm going to obviously intend to keep going because my house is looking very cluttered. I'm busy with stock at the moment. I've been just trying to work through that. What I'm going to do now is show you some of my favorite sales from that week, that's from the week that's just gone. So even though it was only £424 of sales, that's some nice sales. In terms of the amount of sales, I only had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I only did 13. Oh no, that was the first week. In the third week, how many sales did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 17 sales. So not a lot of sales there. But the average price per sale was decent. It's about £24, I think. So I can't really complain too much. Considering the amount of listings I've got, looking at it in hindsight, I'm not actually that bothered. Yeah, it's not a great result, but I do feel that there is a lot of potential here. Definitely. So I'm going to move on and show you some of my more interesting sales from that past week that I did. So let me just switch over to the right view, and then we can get going. Webcam and monitor. Here we go. Hey guys, right there we have it. First thing I want to show you is not terribly interesting on its own, but this was a bunch of ribbon film that I got with a typewriter. A typewriter came with a bunch of it, and I've still got some left I haven't listed, but this I did list these correctable typewriter ribbon inks made in Japan. 4 pack of them sold for £16. Nice easy sell, and I've got more to sell, so I'll be listing those at some point. They've got slightly different packaging, so I wanted to get the right photo up for those. I was going to FBA them, but I've decided just to stick them on eBay for now. So that was the first sale. Not massively interesting, but it does mean that it's more than paid for the typewriter, because I paid £5 for the typewriter and the ink. So I'm already in profit, and then whatever I sell the typewriter for will be pure profit, which is fantastic. So that's the first item I sold. Second item, this is a nice little sale for me as well. Picked this up at an auction. I think I only paid £6, £6.60 if you £6.60 including all the fees, etc. And it sold very quickly for £60. And this is a Toshiba Camilio camcorder. Camcorders are always worth picking up, especially if it's like a more recent one. You're not, this is 1080p. It films in 3D. It's not got all the best features. It doesn't even have image stabilization. But it sold very quickly. It was a nice, easy flip for me. So very happy with that. Next item is another bit of electronics, a Yamaha amp. Picked this up at Boot Fair for £5. It didn't take too long to sell, and it sold for £50, which is pretty cool. Next item, another bit of electronics. This is a pair of vintage headphones, stereo headphones made by Pioneer. Now, this is actually quite an interesting sale, because when I searched what to sell these for, some of these were sold very cheaply via auction. And even Buy It Now, some people hadn't asked for as much, so I got a decent price for these at £40. They just look so cool. If you look at the build quality on them, you don't get headphones like this now. They just look so super cool. The box was very tatty, as you can see there, but I knew they looked cool. They deserved to get £40, and they got £40. And what I mean by that really is sometimes you've got to know what you've got and be confident that your photos, your listing, your description, and what you're valuing something at is worth it. Because some people might be undervaluing, which is fine if you just want to get a quick sale. I had these up for over a month, I think, but not too long, and for them to sell for £40 is a great result. I think I only paid £1 or something along those lines for this. Not a lot at all. Actually, I can go back and have a look. Pioneer Vintage Headphones. I actually paid £2 for those, so sold them for 40, and that made 31.64 profit, 79% profit on return. So really happy with that sale. Obviously, next item, yet another bit of electronics. This is a stereo double cassette deck. Now, this is something that you should really be looking out for, but bear in mind there is work involved. When people are buying things like this, they're buying them because they want to use them. And cassette decks, you have to be bothered to test out the functions, and it doesn't take long. So I did test out the dubbing function on this. So I did play a cassette, and I've got blank cassette which I used to test to record. I tried out all the different noise reductions, the different modes. It doesn't take long, but it really doesn't, especially when you know what you're doing. It doesn't take long. And it's important because then you can confidently say that all the functions have been tested. Now, had I not done that, I wouldn't have been able to pick out that this actually had a slight issue with the auto reverse on tape deck 2. If I just stuck a cassette in and played it on both decks, and thought, oh yeah, I've tested it, it's fine. I wouldn't have known that when you actually use auto reverse on Tape Deck 2, it comes out a muffled sound. But I did that, I picked that up, and it sold still, even though it had that issue, and it's very important to bear that in mind. Now, this is a really cool sale because this is actually something that my wife picked up. We got this for like £1 tops, I think. It may have even been less. Oh yeah, 50 pence. There you go, 50 pence we paid for that, which is fantastic. And we sold this for 22.50. Let me just double check. Yeah, 22.50. We accepted an offer. It's a hole punch, guys. These hole punches have been sold for like £5, £6, £7 on auction, but we thought it was really nice. It's a vintage hole punch. It's made out of metal. It's made in England. It has a brand trademark on it. Really nice hole punch. It's just a hole punch, but again, it's valuing what you've got. You can tell it's vintage just because of the type of, like, the pieces that they've used. It just looks cool. It really does look cool. Bit of research there from the brand Velos, and we accepted an offer. We had it up for £40, but we accepted an offer of 22.50 because we thought we paid so little for it. It was a great little flip, and my wife was obviously very happy because it was one of the items that she picked up, and it's something that I probably wouldn't have, but now I definitely will in the future, and so should you when you're out there looking for stock. Next item, this is really cool. Nick's made a video about these in the past as well, and these are Kenwood mixers, or mixers generally if they're good quality, but especially these are really cool. These are the more vintage mixers. You can part these out and sell different bits separately. But in this particular case, I was happy to sell it as a bundle. It had two of the normal whisks. It had the K mix whisk and the balloon whisk, and it had a plastic bowl. Really good condition, actually. It cleaned up very well. It's a cool looking bit of kit. It will look nice in someone's like ranged style, like country kitchen. Beautiful made in England bit of kit there. Not often that you will get items like these now, especially the build quality. It weighs a ton. It's solid. Works great. It was missing, unfortunately, like the little cap at the top where you put the food grade grease in to keep the mechanism working fine, but it still had a decent amount of lubrication in there, so it was fine. But yeah, really nice little sale. I actually paid £10 for it, so it worked out really good for me. I think I paid £10 for it. Was it? No, it was actually £5. Sorry, my bad. Paid £5 for it, and sold it for 55 minus the postage. So pretty happy with that. Okay, next item is here we go. The Denon TU460 precision audio component. Basically, it's a stereo tuner made in Japan from Denon. I got this as part of a eBay snipe. I bought 4 bits of Denon hi-fi. A guy was getting rid of his hi-fi. There was an amp, there was a CD player, there was a tuner, and the cassette deck as well. And I paid like £23 or something along those lines for it all. And this part I took an offer of £30 for. Really happy with that. Can't really go wrong. Again, I tested it, made sure that you could store stations on it. It doesn't take long, but if you're going to get into electronics, you've got to bear in mind that there is some work involved. It's not as simple as just buying something for a £5 and selling it for 50. To get that extra profit, there's a little bit extra work. You do have to plug it in. Luckily, I've got a hi-fi system set up, so I can just plug these components into my amp, test them out, and everything is brilliant. So in that case, that was great. And my final sale that I want to show you guys, really nice sale this for me, because it's kind of not something I'd normally go for. Picked these up at auction for £3, I believe, and these are dinky hair clips. I was surprised. Again, these go for silly money on eBay. In terms of sometimes on auctions they go for nothing, for a few quid here and there. But I did see the odd sale where someone was asking for £20+ £30, and that's what I went for. I only had 10, I think. But they sold for 30 quid, and they sold very quickly. So obviously it's a decent item in demand. They weren't in the best condition. You can see they're rusted or whatever, but they're old, dinky hair clips, metal hair clips made in England. and they sold for 30 quid. So, and I paid, like I said, £3 at auction. So those were my more interesting sales from that week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoy seeing what sales I'm actually making. Like I said, I have listed a lot more, so hopefully this coming week's results will be better, even though they haven't gotten off to an amazing start this week, the final week of February. But still, I'm hopeful and I'm positive that things will come through eventually. At the end of the day, it is all about amount of work in equals result out. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a positive comment and a thumbs up. If you didn't enjoy it, leave it a thumbs down. Any comments, I will obviously do my best to respond to. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you for watching.